2 marker. Reset. What's going on, Alamo City Movie Talk fans? As always, I'm your host, Ryan D. aka Ryan680.
I'm Angela Kelly-Ange.
Hey, what's going on? I'm Frankie from the Nerd Coliseum.
And I'm Kristen.
And thank you guys so much for being here with us, whether you're staying tuned or whether you're going to see the after show, which we'll do an after show more than likely. Probably we'll release that tomorrow, just to give a chance to watch House of the Dragon spoilers, because we are going to talk about spoilers. We're not gonna tear apart the videos. We're gonna go full throttle, game on, orgy on. Let's go. I'm just kidding. Hey, all I'm saying. So one of the things that I really did like was that, you know, when they first came out with you know, like I want to say like a few months ago, was that House of the Dragon. They really came out and said we're going more violent, and then literally said more orgy. I was like, okay. It was like it did. All right, cool.
That's number 2.
That's number 2, right? Yeah. But I was like, but
This is House of the Dragons or the boys?
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah. And so one of the things I really did like, of course, was that, and one of the things that, like, I have 2 things that I was kind of like really critique on when coming into the season. Because season 1, I want to get y'all's perspective real quick, because we really haven't talked about it too much. But one of the things that had was that from Game of Thrones, they had already that momentum. They had that level of critique that they really need to nail it in the coffin. They had this moment where like it needs to be as good as Game of Thrones or better. That was kind of like the way of the show, the expectations of this show and everything. And I gotta admit though, HBO fucking killed it. They killed it with House of the Dragon. They killed it season 1. And people would even argue that season 1 of House of the Dragon is better than Game of Thrones House of the Dragon season 1. Game of Thrones season 1 compared to the 2 and everything. But what did y'all think of House of the Dragon last season?
First of all, like when House of the Dragons was first announced and this was being created, this was after people started not liking Game of Thrones, because this was in the last 2 seasons, which had a lot of mixed reviews, whatever you think about it. But I think House of the Dragons took us back to what made Game of Thrones so good, because the last couple seasons relied so much on these big CGI moments and these big dragons and all this other kind of stuff. And House of the Dragons, even though like they have a lot of dragons, they focus more on the politics and the dialogue and the characterization and all this other kind of things that made Game of Thrones so good to begin with. And House of Dragons season 1 nailed it. Like we went back to the roots. So that's why I think House of Dragons has really revitalized the fandom of Game of Thrones, which the last couple seasons of Game of Thrones lost a lot of people.
Yeah, I think what's special about House of Dragons too is you don't even need to watch any Game of Thrones to get what's going on with House of Dragons. Like it stands on its own, completely strongly stands on its own.
Yep.
And if you've never seen Game of Thrones, it doesn't matter. You can start off with House of the Dragon and still be very enjoyed with the lore.
Yeah, no, for sure. And so it did meet your expectations. I mean, it met ours.
I think, for me, for sure, absolutely.
And I will be the only book reader here, and I will say that even me having read the book beforehand, it met the expectations of the way the book was, because the book is actually a history book. It's not like a regular narrative like all the other Game of Thrones books are. Or the Song of Ice and Fire books, I guess I should say. But the House of the Dragons book is read like a history book. So it's really interesting. Watching the show is almost like watching history come to life, because in the books, it's just going through a firsthand account of people witnessing these events. And now we actually get to see the way characters are thinking, what really happened, what was their motivation, what actually happened in this situation where people were just speculating on things. So it's really interesting, and it's a unique experience watching the show, having read a history book of what was going to happen and now seeing it come to life.
Okay. All right. Dang. I love that. And then of course, going back to season 1, if you haven't seen season 1, we're talking about spoilers real quick, but give us that little rundown, because we talked about it off camera. Was that last scene that we got, the vicious, horrific scene of a teenage kid getting eaten by a dragon. I mean, by accident, we could say, right? But I mean, when animals, it's definitely, I felt like that. I have to look at their point of view, is that, they're teenagers, they're kids, they're gonna. I mean, we fucked around with shit all the time, through rocks at kids, just. But obviously, obviously, like it's just when we were kids, it's carelessness. We don't really have the sense of responsibility and all that. And I like that how they highlighted a lot in the last episode of season 1. And kind of explain, I guess, how that happened, I guess, in the book side.
Well, I like what you said earlier is that rewatching that scene, you realize that we kind of get in touch with this idea that the dragons, yes, they can be controlled, but at the same time, they're wild animals and they will lose, because that's what that final fight kind of seemed to be.
Yeah.
Which was really interesting, because if we're talking about like the books, literally just what you read in the books is it's this maester who's recounting everything, and he says people just saw them arguing, and then they go up into the storm, and the next thing you know, there's pieces of Lucerys's dragon falling to the ground. So it was really interesting to see the show, because it was like, you knew it was going to happen, but it was interesting to see like them lose control of their dragons, and that's going to be, no spoilers, but that's going to be a really big thing in the future with the coming, because now we are in the Dance of Dragons, which is the name of this oncoming war. And like the first season,
what's
just
so great about Game of Thrones and House of Dragons. There's no good guy or bad guy. It's always this gray stuff, humans being humans and like bullying that went too far. Yeah, and that's really what happened. Is like they were just goofing around, and then their animals are the one that sort of it's the animals that are going to cause this war to take place.
Yeah, no, for real. One of the things I also wanted to highlight as well was that they did mention this upcoming season is that we're going to see less Matt Smith in here. And they did say it's just because, and Matt Smith kind of went on an interview and he said it, I saw earlier today, and then they announced it a month ago. Of course, they weren't able to say much, but they said, oh yeah, I'm in it less, but it's because it's setting up Aegon, because they want to, because they really showed them too much in the season 1. They kind of just showed him like jacking off, and they showed him like, well, that's what he's doing, raping I mean,
you just see him. He's not a very good person.
Yeah, like, and
it sets it up that he's probably not going to be a very good king.
Everything we saw of him last season was just like, terrible. What a dick. It was just like he was really just an asshole, and then just I mean, I'm not. That's unfiltered right there, but it just because we didn't really see him that much last season.
So we're gonna see more of him this season.
Yeah, we're gonna see him a lot more in this season because he is the king of the realm, fake king of the realm. But yeah, I would never bend the knee to that guy. I wouldn't. If we were at Westeros, now let me ask y'all. Here's a question I would ask y'all: Team Black or Team Green?
Black. Rhaenyra all the way. Even me knowing what's going to happen, always Rhaenyra
all
the way.
Yeah, I think I would side the same way. I think so.
I think we're all
Team Green.
Team Black.
Team Green. I'm just kidding.
No. You got to be one. You got to be that.
No, I'm not Team Green. God, no. Hell no.
She is the rightful queen.
Yeah.
She was, and the only reason, which was also a little bit of a change from the books, but also it could have not been because it's a history book and they just might not have known this. But remember, to kind of refresh season 1 stuff, the only reason that what's the Green Queen's or Green?
Oh, Alicent.
Alicent, thank you. The only reason Alicent even puts Aegon II on the throne is because on Aegon the First's deathbed, not Aegon, Viserys the First's deathbed, he starts mumbling about Aegon.
Viserys, you forgot to say the first of his name.
First of his name.
The king.
We'll be here all day.
He's like trying to finish that conversation he had with Rhaenyra, and like Alicent's like picking and choosing bits because she doesn't really fully understand.
Stupid.
It's one of those situations where she thinks she's in the right.
Yeah.
Right? The bad guys are never the bad guys because they think they're bad. They're just like, we think that this is what happened. It was a misunderstanding, and it kind of sucks that like nobody will know that.
Yeah.
You know?
We've seen that she'll do a lot for a kid, even like, present her feet for Mr.
Oh yeah, I forgot that happened. Oh my god, I totally forgot that happened.
Is that number 3? So more war, more orgies, and more feet, maybe?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I mean, that's a fetish. I mean, that was weird. I forgot that happened with Alicent. And it's weird because like, I mean, even we rewatched the first season, and I was all like, man, Alicent never really lived a good life in a way, and that's I think she's bitter and upset because Rhaenyra, she thinks that Rhaenyra lived. I mean, she really, in reality, she kind of did, but in before her, I mean, her first marriage was a duty thing. It was a duty. I mean, some guy got killed by what's his name? The knight that was assigned to Rhaenyra. What's his name?
Kristen Cole.
Yeah, Kristen Cole. whenever they killed, and he literally killed him during their like wedding dinner or whatever you want to call it, and then they literally got married that night, even though he passed away. The guy's crying, and it's like, I mean, it's just horrific, and it's crazy because they had to do this duty no matter what. They have to do it, and I feel like it wasn't for love, obviously, but at the same time, though, I gotta say, out of all the marriages we've seen in Game of Thrones, theirs was actually not that bad compared to like what other marriages go through.
It wasn't the red wedding.
Yeah, no, it wasn't the red wedding. Yeah. Oh man, that still stings.
I do agree. I think that Alicent's very bitter in seeing that she's always been about duty and family and doing the right thing, and she sees Rhaenyra, and Rhaenyra, I guess, is held not as at the same standard. Like she kind of has a little bit more free will. Like even though she has the marriage, she kind of has the side arrangement. And, you know, she keeps trying to like, those are not your sons. They're not illegitimate.
Well, that scene where Alicent attacks Rhaenyra, that was one of my favorite scenes in the entire season. And that was an addition. That wasn't in the book at all. So that was like, it was a really raw moment where you see just how far she's willing to go for her kids.
Exactly, yeah.
And attack Rhaenyra. And at the same time, you got to see Rhaenyra just really be that queen that she is. That she's that calm and collective, badass. Like you can't do this. I still care about you. I still love you. And obviously that's any love that Rhaenyra had felt for Alicent is not going to be gone with the death of her son at the end of season 1. So.
Yeah. One of the things that I also want to talk about too is before we end this show right here, because we're going to get ready for House of the Dragons in 15 minutes and everything.
She's so excited.
Yeah,
we've been waiting 3 years.
I can't believe it's already here. We're 15 minutes away from showtime. Game day is here.
HBO I'm excited. Better turn up. Nothing better go wrong.
I want to start off. I hope it starts off strong, especially after how last season ended. We waited 3 years.
Yeah, and it's only 8 episodes, guys. That's the thing that's pissing me off. It's only 8 episodes. Each episode better be an hour and a half. That's all I'm saying. If it ain't an hour and a half, oh my God, Max, what is going on over there, man? And they need to be each an hour and a half. I need a movie size on every single episode, just because how great of a show it was in season 1. And that's the thing too was that the obstacle it really had not really against itself, but the obstacle was that was the audience going to pay attention enough? Because you know how audience get when we get with time lapses, all that stuff. Would they really pay attention enough when we saw young Rhaenyra, young Alicent? You kind of, and I love it because this comes back to the writers' room. Writers deserve more pay. They did and everything. So like, I feel like that they really did it organically. Whenever you saw, okay, it's going to be 5 episodes of the young versions and then 5 episodes of the older versions. And I thought that was really great. The casting was just spot on for Alicent and Rhaenyra. They look just like themselves. I prefer young Rhaenyra just because she's going to be Supergirl. I mean, she's going to be
old Rhaenyra.
Yeah,
old Rhaenyra is a badass.
Dude, yeah. I mean, I just can't. I mean, I'm biased because I'm waiting for her to be Supergirl. I guess that's why. But
Emma Darcy's awesome.
Yeah,
there's a lot of TV right now, you know. Yeah, and I think House of Dragons. We were talking about this. House of Dragons is one of those shows that is just so far it's quality.
Yeah,
it's more quality than other stuff that we're seeing. I think right now, not to bring up other, a side tangent, I think, quality wise, The Boys and House of Dragons is delivering on a cinematic level.
Yeah, no, for sure. And then the one thing too is I want to say is that, I love the way it's filmed. It's filmed like a movie. It's not filmed like a TV show, like The Acolyte and all that stuff, and like The Acolyte's too clean. There was a lot of things that had
it's small, things that should
we're
be
gonna
big.
get on a tangent.
Yeah,
different podcast.
We're not gonna get on the tangent.
Different episode.
We don't want to talk about it.
Not gonna get on the tangent, but those episodes are those type of shows that should feel big. Do not. But this one does. This one feels big, and that's what I'm excited about.
Okay.
So I'll say one more thing. The only thing that kind of worries me about this season is the fact they announced a 3rd season. I hope they don't try to just like milk it.
But what's wrong with that though? What if it's done good?
If it's done well,
that's
and we get to see more character development. I guess there's just like there's upcoming events that I know and that I'm so excited to see, and I hope I don't have to wait another 4 years to see these events.
That is awesome. I mean, we're getting quality, but that is also when you told me we were gonna have to wait 3 years for season 2. I literally was like, what? I was like, am I gonna be alive in 3 years? Like, come on.
I can't believe it's been this long already, and it's crazy because it's definitely the what do you call it? The hype is up, and it's really there's a standard here to be met, and there really is, and everything. And I feel like that with the way the expectation is there, of course, and I want to see more dragon fights. I don't know if I want to see in the beginning though. I don't know if I want to see it in the
yes.
first episode though. That's the thing. Do we see it? Okay, here's the thing. Do we go into this? The first scene we're gonna get in season 2 is gonna be they're already at war. Maybe because remember because we talked about it. We were talking about it because at the very last episode, Driftmaw, the navy, the navy of the fleet and all that, they already closed down the border for King's Landing. So like, I'm kind of curious if we're gonna see that fight maybe, and kind of like he already like stopped the trade. So they're already trying to stop what's happening at King's Landing from trade, from food, from all that stuff, because obviously that's what kind of brings light and brings everything to King's Landing. You think there's
going to be small time jump?
I think I think so. I think we're gonna have a little small time. I think we're gonna jump right into the Navy fleet and everything. I think that could be good because it's already established. He even said it, Dripma. He's like, it's already done. If it hasn't, it's any day now, and it's already done. And I love that. And I was like, damn, they already chose a side before he even went there. They chose a side, and Rhaenyra was questioning him even more because of that. But I mean, it does kind of suck because I get the kid that was supposed to take Rhaenyra's kid was supposed to take Dripma. Now it's like, I don't want to say an open seat, but yeah.
But it's still going to be a big focus on her trying to get support.
Yeah.
But yeah, first episode, I think it's going to be a lot of that immediate aftermath, and I think we will see one death.
Dragon?
Yeah, I mean, episode 1?
Episode 1. I think we will see one death.
It better not be Beth.
Dragon or per character?
That's why he's not in it a lot.
You shut the...
I'm not going to say who. I'm just going to say I think...
Who do you think?
If they follow the formula that they normally follow, I think we will see one death. It's not a major death.
Tell me who. Tell me who.
Enough, maybe juicy enough to keep...
Just say it. You're not even... You could be totally wrong.
For the rest of the season...
Yeah.
For your predictions, how many dragons do you think we'll see die, and how many characters, main or not, do you think we'll see?
I'm not going to answer that question. I know how many are going to die.
I'm just going to say probably a lot because I don't know how to answer that question. So I'm just going to go with a lot.
Yeah,
hopefully a lot.
So
because it's juicy, so people are going to die.
So since you're coming from the book, tell me who's the person you think is going to die.
If you don't want to know, plug your ears or mute the thing.
Yeah, I want to know.
I think Joffrey Valerian is going to die this episode.
Oh, okay.
That's another one of the boys. The young boys.
Which one is that? Eye Patch Kid?
No.
Like
it's one of the minor boys. Minor characters. One of the boys. One of the bastard boys.
Okay.
Gotcha.
No, the small one. The smallest one.
Yeah. I won't tell you how he dies.
Okay.
But I think he will die
by fire. I mean,
bold prediction. I think you're right though. I think there might be like some sort of time jump. They usually tend to do that, like between a season. It'd be nice if they picked right back up. If they did something bold like an episode 3 Star Wars opener, or like just a big
that'd
really
be cool.
I don't know if they're gonna do that, but if they went really big, like
they did say more violence. I mean, I wouldn't. Dude, that'll be killer. And then they're just like the camera's just going through the battle.
With dragons
with dragons.
Stuff,
like, that would be killer.
Episode 1s of Game of Thrones always start very dialogue heavy, and then they always end with something big.
I agree.
So that's why I said I think it's going to be very dialogue heavy, and I think we're going to have that accident.
But it would be nice if we could get the big stuff first.
It would be nice.
Yeah. But flip it on its head a little bit. But I think she's
not
right.
The formula.
I think that's what we're going to get, is what she said.
Yeah. I mean, it could end, of course, with that death at the very last scene we get.
Maybe they don't even do that.
And then it cuts off, Yeah,
it could be different, but...
I'm excited, So we're about 9 minutes till game time,
9
guys. 9 minutes.
What are we still doing here?
The question is for you guys. Are you excited for House of the Dragon Season 2? What's your expectations? Put on comments down below. We'll try to answer them and everything. But yeah, let us know what you guys think of it and everything. What season 1 your best, like one of the better, what people would even argue it's better than the last season of Game of Thrones. Yeah, people would even argue that. So
I mean,
that's not even an argument. That's
a fact. All right, guys, thank you so much for making this a part of your day. As always, I'm your host, Ryan D. Ryan 680.
Angela Thakelian.
This is Frankie from the Nerd Coliseum.
And I'm Kristen.
Have a good one, guys. See you at the movies. And be sure to check out our pre-show or after show that's coming out tomorrow. I'll get that released tomorrow. We'll get that recorded. Maybe we'll do like a little snippet. You never know. Maybe we'll do like a little short real quick. Just like one word. What did you think of episode 1? We can do that. Yeah, we can do that. Yeah, there you go. All right, guys. Have a good one. Stay safe.